and welcome to the first episode of Library Hall. What is Library Hall? Yes, that's a very good question. So, Library Hall is a show where I get a haul from the library and I show you what it is and then we talk about it. So, basically, how this came about is over COVID, my library did this interesting thing where they were actually delivering books to people, which was amazing. And so you could put your books on a queue, and then when they were ready for you, they would deliver them to your door in a paper bag, which was so awesome. And I have always loved libraries. I've always been a big library nerd. Ever since I was a little kid, I love to read books. I love to just look at books. I love to pick up books, read the first few lines of a book, see if I'm going to want to read it, put it back or take it with me. The whole thing. I love books. And so during COVID, when the library so generously did this program where they would deliver books, I would start to get what I called library hauls. And then it was kind of fun because I'd have this bag of books and it'd be like Christmas, basically. Like I'd be looking through them and seeing which ones I liked and which ones were going to go back. And I just really enjoyed it. So I had this idea to do a show where I would share this experience with you because now, post-COVID, I'm still doing my library hauls. It's just different. So I just go and pick up the books and put them in my bag and take them home and then look at them. And it's in my own little library haul. So I'm going to show you how it goes. So here's library haul number 1. So first of all, I have my bag. This is like a scruffy old New Yorker bag that I got free like many years ago when I subscribed to that magazine and then promptly did not read any of the articles because they're so long. Has anyone else done this? But anyways, I got a bag and I've used this as my library bag. And it's fun to have a specific bag just for library books because, to be honest, library books can be kind of, well, I don't want to say dirty because that's not totally true, but you're not going to put like your intimates in this bag or your fresh fruits. Like this is the library bag. Okay. This is for books that get around. All right. So we have our book bag and let's see what books I have gotten in this library haul. Okay. So first of all, Building a Second Brain. Okay. This book is by Tiago Forte. And it's a proven method to organize your digital life and unlock your creative potential. So you'll find in the show that I love books on, I'm a little bit of a self-helpy kind of creativity, kind of entrepreneurial, positive, encouragement kind of junkie, right? So this I thought was interesting. I think I heard him maybe speaking on a podcast about just how to organize information in the avalanche of information that we receive. So I thought that'd be an interesting read, potentially, right? The next book I got is The Psychology of Money. Okay, so this is another favorite topic of mine. I love books about finance, personal finance, how to achieve financial freedom, people's experiences. I love this kind of stuff. This book, I think I saw recommended somewhere on a list. I don't really remember, but picked it up and we'll see if it ends up being a good one. This is by Morgan Housel. Okay, the next book is Unmasked. So this is Unmasked by Andy Ngio. Inside Antifa's radical plan to destroy democracy. A very controversial choice. Apparently, this book was read by a member of Mumford and Sons, and then he tweeted out or something like that he had read it, and just by doing that, he was canceled, like just by reading a book. So I thought, well, I have to read that book. That's fascinating. And so that's that book. We'll see. We'll see if it's good, if I get into it. And then I've got this book by Austin Kleon, and it is called Keep Going, 10 Ways to Stay Creative in Good Times and Bad. One of these little books. I like this guy's style. I subscribe to his newsletter, and I really like it, and I've read something else by him. Oh, yeah, Steal Like an Artist, and it's kind of fun. I like his style, so we'll look at that and see if it's a good one. So how I do this is obviously, I have a day job and I have a life, and I'm not reading like, all the time. I do read a lot, but I speed read, and then sometimes I'm reading the whole book and such. But what I tend to do with books that I pick up in my library haul is I will go through them and I will look at like the table of contents. So that is something that I will look at first. And then I will read like the first few sentences and kind of get a sense of if this book is something that I'm going to be interested in. And then I will read the book or I will not. Like, if something doesn't grab me within a few pages, it goes back to the library. I have a list of like hundreds literally of books. Like, so there's no keeping a book if it's not interesting. It just goes back to the library. That doesn't mean it's a bad book. It just means it's not calling me at this particular moment, right? And oftentimes if I grab like 5 books, maybe 2 of them stay. Or if it's like an art book, I'll look through it and then maybe a couple other books. But I love also getting cookbooks from the library. I love looking at children's books, really beautiful art books. I love nonfiction, sometimes fiction, and just all kinds of books. I'm just such a big fan of books. And so that is the journey I want to share with you. So what I'm going to do is I will come back and I will share with you in like a second part of this episode which books made the cut and why and what I thought of them. And hopefully that's something that you will find interesting and you'll join me on this first episode of the Library Haul. Ooh, maybe that clap was bad. On this first episode of the Library Haul. All right, thanks for watching. To support Library Haul, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. You can find links to the featured books in the video description or on our website, libraryhall.com. Our show gets a small commission when you buy books through these links. Yay and thank you. And yes, that is baby me enjoying a book. Hello and welcome back to the Library Haul. I am very excited for the first edition of the book report. Okay, so this is where we look at the books that were in the original Library Haul, and now we are going to review these books. Okay, are you ready? Very exciting. All right, the first book that we have is Keep Going. This is by Austin Kleon. I loved this little book. First of all, I love a small inspirational book. I mean, that's just pretty much one of my favorite categories of books because you can read it quickly. It's like a jolt of energy, a jolt of inspiration. And that's exactly what this was. He goes through all kinds of things. He has pictures. He has little art bits that he's done and quotes and plenty of good advice on how to just keep working on those creative things that you're doing. And it's very inspirational. I think this is a great book for anybody who has something that they enjoy doing, that sometimes they maybe need a little inspiration or a little encouragement. It'd be good for like also a graduate or someone who has something that they are trying to do that's creative, which I mean, basically is all of us, that creativity is everything that you're trying to do and create. So I loved this book. Highly recommend this book. Highly recommend this book. All right, the next book is called The Psychology of Money. This is by Morgan Housel. So this book I had never heard of before, and then all of a sudden it was in like a few different places. So that's always to me a sign like, okay, read this book. And I did read this book, and this book was really interesting. This was a book that was unlike any other sort of finance book that I've read. I've read a lot of how to get control of your personal finance type of books. And this has some of that in this, but this is more like, this was very interesting. There were lots of like little stories and anecdotes explaining different concepts as to our relationship with money and why people lose money, why people are able to gain money. And I just thought it was totally fascinating. So I highly recommend this book for anybody who maybe is struggling with their relationship with money or is just looking to improve their understanding of how money even works. This has a lot of really interesting short stories. It's a fast read too, which I really like. And so you learn things in different ways. So if you've struggled with like sort of more traditional financial books, this might be a good book to check out to sort of get a different kind of angle to help you with your financial fluency. So highly recommend this book. Very exciting. Okay, the next book was called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. And this book was, the subtitle is A Proven Method to Organize Your Digital Life and Unlock Your Creative Potential. So this book talked a lot about lists. I will admit I sort of read through a lot of this book. He did a lot of examples of why it's good to keep lists. And I'm already like a big list keeper, so I didn't really glean that much from it. But I thought it did have some interesting anecdotes. And certainly if you're struggling in that area of staying organized, it would be a good book to check out. So yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, but not like a super fave. Okay. The next book was called Unmasked by Andy Ngo. I don't know how to say his last name. And it was about Antifa. And honestly, this book kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's wild. It's definitely like a angle on this group that you do not hear about in the mainstream media. And he has some personal stories because he was personally impacted by Antifa during the demonstrations in Portland in particular. So it was very interesting to read about his experience and his findings. I actually didn't finish this book, though. I have to be honest. I got a little freaked out by it just because it was kind of scary to read because, I don't know, there's a lot going on with this group that is kind of wild. But if you're interested, you should definitely check this out. The other thing that was interesting was I found out about this book because I had seen that a guy that was on part of Mumford & Sons had tweeted about this book, and then he ended up kind of getting canceled because he just tweeted that he thought the book was interesting. So that's why it came onto my radar. And then I Googled this guy who was on Mumford & Sons, and he actually has his own podcast called, I think it's called Marshall Matters. And it's pretty interesting. He talks to a lot of really interesting people that are doing things around the world and are commenting on like current events and political things. And I don't know, I like his vibe. So I've checked out his podcast. I thought it was really interesting. So that's that book. Yeah, so that was my first book report of Library Haul. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some books that you found interesting. And I will see you next time. Hey there! If you liked this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. To support us, please use the links in the video description or at libraryhall.com to purchase the featured books. Thanks for watching!